What's going on, guys? Mac Junkie here. Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be doing an in-depth review and flight test of the Syma X5c, the Syma X5c-1 quadcopter. Now, this thing has been around for a long time. It's basically a classic quadcopter from Syma. Syma makes a bunch of really good quadcopters, and this is one of the most popular quadcopters on Amazon and just in general for really cheap quadcopters that let beginners like myself get into the quadcopter game. And that's what I did with this. I really wanted to get a quadcopter, but I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money, and this thing is absolutely perfect. Now, if you don't want to stay here and see all the geeky stuff and how the quad works and how the transmitter works and all that, I'll put some timestamps in the description so you can go straight to the flight test where I fly this thing around my local park to test out the camera quality, do some flips and stuff like that. So if you want to stay here and look at all the technical specifications of this thing, then go ahead and stay here. But if not, there's a timestamp in the description to go watch this thing fly. So let's get on with it. What you get in the box is you get obviously the quad. Right now I have it pretty bare bones. I don't have any of the protectors or the landing gear. I just have the quad and the camera. And then you get your transmitter, which is right here. It takes 4 AA batteries. I use rechargeable batteries just because I like rechargeable batteries. Now, it comes with 4 prop guards, which are right here, and you connect them with screwdrivers. They have, let's see if I can get this to focus. So it comes with 4 prop guards. They look like this, and you take them, and they have a screw in there that you can take out, but I probably wouldn't take it out. You can just unscrew it enough just to take it out and then pop it on and screw it on. So let's just go ahead and focus back in on here. Now, to connect it, you just take it, you line it up with these 2 holes here. There's a hole right there, and then a hole, if I'll move the propeller, hole right there, and then the screw. So you just take it, you pop it on like that, and then you screw it in right there, and then you do it on all 4 sides. Super easy. And it also comes with a screwdriver, which is right here. It comes with a nice little Phillips screwdriver so you can get all that work done. And the landing gear, which are these little things, they don't need any screws. They just pop right on. They just pop on like this, if I can do it. So there you go, that's it with the landing gear on. So sometimes I'll fly with the landing gear on. Usually I like to take off as much as I can just so I can get longer flight times with less weight. And also I'll usually take the camera off, but of course I have it on right now because I'm going to go out and fly it for you guys. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the transmitter here. That's the quadcopter. I guess we'll look at the battery first here. I'll go and unplug it from the charger. I'm actually charging it right now to go and fly it. So it comes with a 500 milliamp hour. Let me just get this up here so you can read this. Comes with a 3.7 volt 500 milliamp hour battery. When I have it bare bones like this, even without the camera, when I have it bare bones, it usually just runs for about 7 to 8 minutes. If I have everything attached, if I have the landing gear, the camera, and the prop guards, it lasts about 5 minutes. And if I take off the landing gear and I'm recording with the camera the whole time, it gets about 5 minutes with that. So those are pretty okay flight times. I would recommend getting some extra batteries. I have some extra batteries coming in the mail, so those will be here soon so I can extend my flight times. But other than that, it does have a fairly decent battery life, and this is after about 7 flights. And after those 7 flights, I actually I haven't seen any decrease in the battery quality or anything. Just make sure if you're new to, I mean, I'm new to drones, but I did do a hefty amount of research for keeping your batteries lasting longer. Just make sure that after you're flying your quadcopter, don't take the battery out and start charging it instantly. Let it cool off for a little bit till it's not warm. And the same thing goes for after you're done charging it. Wait for about 5 minutes before you put it in the quadcopter. And also make sure you store these things in a fridge. That's what I saw online. I don't actually do that, but it says that if you store it in a place that's 30 Celsius or 40 degrees Fahrenheit, like about a refrigerator temperature, then it'll make it last longer or something like that, or it'll hold its charge better if you're charging it and not going to use it right away. Other than that, that's about it for the quad and the stuff it comes with. So let's go ahead and move on to the transmitter here. Now the transmitter is fairly straightforward. It doesn't have a very good range. There's tons of range mods you can do to these transmitters. They're all over YouTube. But the transmitter is fairly simple, and it's pretty easy to use. So basically you just turn it on like this, and then you push up and down to bind to the quad. Now obviously I'm not bound to it. As you can see, there's no battery put in there. But the way you use this is obviously you have your throttle, yaw, you have your pitch and your roll. But if you want to take a picture while you're flying, you press up on this little stick right here, that takes a picture. If you push down, that takes a video. And up here, if you press this button, this is the high-low rates, which you can see right now. It says L right there. If I press it, it goes to high rate. That's basically changing how your speed is. So right there is your signal strength to the quadcopter while you're flying. Right there is your throttle. So if I move the throttle, you can see that moving up and down. Looks pretty cool. Same with your roll. If you move your roll, you can see the middle of that circle going back and forth, and with pitch, goes up and down. So it gives you a nice little OSD, so you can see if you're calibrated correctly. And it also gives you a battery indicator, which is really nice because you do not want to have older or dying batteries in your transmitter, because that will hurt the range and you could lose your quadcopter. So that's definitely something you want to watch out for. And I'm really happy that it includes one of these little battery things. So now let's move on to the right bumper. If you hold this down and move the right stick into any direction, it will flip. The quadcopter will do a flip in that way, and you will see that in the video demonstration. Now, a lot of people asked how to change from mode 1 to mode 2. So mode 1 is where you have your throttle, and then you have your yaw, which is controlled here. Then you have your pitch and your roll. Mode 2, which I don't really know why you'd want to change to this, but to each his own. This is still throttle, but doing this will control the pitch, or not the pitch, this will control the roll. And then you control the pitch with this one, with the right stick, but doing this will control the yaw. So I think it's completely crazy. I think it's way different from what I'm used to from flying the little indoor quadcopters. This is my first really big outdoor one. So I like to keep it in mode 1, but to change modes, you hold the little trigger right here, you hold that to the right and then turn it on. You'll get a loud beep, you bind, and as you can see there, if it'll let me pair, we are in mode 2. Now to change from mode 1, turn it off, do the same thing. Now as you can see, we are in mode 1. So that's how you change from mode 1 to mode 2. I actually had some questions about that as well, but after changing to mode 2, I realized that I actually didn't really like the way the quad flew like that too much. Anyways, guys, that's about it for all this. The battery charge time, I guess I'll bring that up. The battery takes about an hour and a half to charge, so that's quite a long time for the fairly short flight time. Now, if you do want to, you can get more batteries, and they're fairly cheap. I got 6 batteries, and they're on the way with a charger that can charge 6 batteries at once. I got it for like $19.99, and I think that's going to be perfect for extending my range. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and take this thing out and see how it flies after being around for 4 or so years. Let's see how it holds up after that time. Okay, guys, so we're at the park right now, as you can see here. The camera actually has a microphone, which is pretty cool. I'm going to go and fly it around. There's about a 5-mile-an-hour breeze coming from right ahead, right where I'm pointing the quadcopter. We're going to see how it flies. So let's go. I'd just like to point out right there that I didn't actually lose range. That was me just gumming off the throttle so I could descend faster. As you saw there, I just did a backflip, and now I'm dropping again. The quadcopter does pretty good at balancing itself while it's falling and trying not to flip upside down. And even when it does, if you just give it some throttle, it will right itself and continue flying. And you can be pretty safe by just letting go of the throttle and falling, as long as you give it enough throttle long before you hit the ground, or you're going to hit the ground. You're about to see in a little bit here, I'm going to drop again, but it's going to do a lot better at holding itself. Just did a barrel roll, and now I'm falling. As you see there, it did a much better job at holding itself up in the air. I'm also doing this voiceover to save your ears from the bombardment of the propeller noises, because I know that's probably annoying. But other than that, I'm probably going to be cutting in here just a little bit to explain some stuff. As you see there, I just did another flip. Recovered, actually almost crashed there. Now, if you can see that flickering on the camera, those black lines that happen every once in a while, that's actually called propeller flicker. That's when the sun shines into the camera lens, and the shadow of the propellers spinning goes onto the lenses and makes that little effect. So that's not actually the camera. That's just the sun doing that propeller flicker effect. It actually flew really nicely. Even in that wind, you could see me doing those flips and dropping out of the sky just to see how the recovery was. I think this thing flies great. Now, as for the camera quality, it's not that good, obviously, but it's still good enough to get a good idea of what your surroundings are. And for $30, I'm not really going to knock it too much. Let's go ahead and fly the rest of the battery out, and we'll see how it does. Alright, so at this point I was done trying to ascend, and then I decided that I was going to be doing some speed runs right there. As you saw, I actually got really close to the ground there. Now, one of the downsides to this quad is that when you're in the second rate, which is the higher speed, when you do full pitch forward and full throttle, you will not gain any altitude. You will actually sort of dive towards the ground. And that's what you saw right there. As you can see, you're doing a few more flips and other things like that, a few barrel rolls, just testing out the agility of the quadcopter. Now, it's easy enough to keep altitude. It's actually really easy to gain altitude. It's just that if you want to go fast, you can't go max speed without descending quite quickly. So you're going to have to be very mindful of that when flying this thing. As you can see, just getting closer to the ground there. And that was when I was doing full throttle. So that was maximum power. It was still descending very quickly. But it's still pretty fun to get it really close to the ground and pull up right before it hits the ground. But it is a little scary as well. But this quadcopter is very agile, and that's probably one of the only downsides to it, is that it can hit the ground. When you're in the first rate or the low rate, it does perfectly fine if you do full throttle and full pitch, and it does go decently fast as well. Right, now at this point I decided I wanted to get a little more risky, fly a little bit closer to things, and as you can see here, the camera actually cut out just a little bit there. And you probably saw the Windows movie player, you saw that little bar down there, and that's because this camera records in .avi format, really weird format that I'm definitely not used to, and neither is my phone, because my phone would not accept it. So basically I just used OBS and then screen recorded the captured footage that I played on Windows Media Player. Now, as you can see there, I did fly pretty close to that little penthouse thing, and right here is where my battery dies. So right there, my battery died. So guys, that was my review on the Syma X5c-1. I think this is a really good quadcopter. Obviously, I'm not super used to quadcopters. I haven't flown a ton of them, but this thing is very easy to control, and I think it's very, very appealing to beginners like myself who want to get into this quadcopter game without spending a ton of money. The thing is about $30 on Amazon. Links to it are in the description. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys did, please be sure to leave a like. If you liked it a lot, then subscribe as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.